Our reading today are taken from lyrics from Nico Case's new album and a song called Hell On. God is not a contract or a guy. God is an unspecified tide. You cannot time its tables. It sets no glass or gables. God is a lusty tire fire. Its bristles scrape and strike the stage. A rock, paper, scissors rage. Have mercy on the natural world. My voice is not the liquid waves, the perfect ring round a heron's legs. My voice is straight, garroting wire, a stolen mile of fingerprints peeled up quiet from their dunes, captured and respooled as ruin to be used at a different time. And me, I am not a mess. I am a wilderness, yes, not the undiscovered continent for you to undress. You'll not be my master, you're barely my guest. Nature can't amend its ways, boils hell on, and then replays. Despite heartfelt springtimes of regret, the storm, she still cries for days. Have mercy on the natural world. Nico Case's lyrics, like so many poems and images, plays with this idea of woman as an embodiment of nature. Women's bodies are often used as metaphor for earth and creation. Case, however, chooses to focus on the destructive forces of nature, also embodied in women. Just like the fertility of earth has been tamed, institutionalized, and controlled, so too has the sexuality and fertility of women, be it through genital mutilation, limiting access to birth control, or Rachel forcing her handmaid to bear children for her. Fundamentalist Society and Handmaid's Tale is created based on the story of Rachel and her handmaid, with the purpose of solving infertility issues brought on by environmental devastation, the barren earth equivalent to barren woman. But I would like to go back 2 generations to Rachel's grandmother, Sarah. Sarah, like Rachel, was unable to conceive children. In the case of Sarah, she approaches Abraham with the proposition that he take Hagar, her Egyptian slave, as a wife so she can bear him children. But once Hagar gets pregnant, Sarah treats her poorly. We don't know the details, but we know Hagar runs away and becomes the first person in Scripture visited by God. The first person, the first woman, the first Black woman, the first person visited by God is a Black woman. She is told she will give birth to Ishmael and that she must return to Sarah and Abraham. Sarah, as you know, finally well into her hundreds, bears Isaac. Jealous and threatened by Ishmael and his mother, she casts them out into the wilderness to wander. Hagar's story is remarkable. Imagine hearing it in her own words. But little has changed from biblical days, and that our stories in print, on canvas, and on screens are told mostly through the male gaze and in the male voice. In her book, Texts of Terror, which, yes, is a reference to the Bible, Phyllis Tribal writes, as a symbol of the oppressed, Hagar becomes many things to many people. She's a faithful maid, exploited, the Black woman used by the male and abused by the ruling class woman. She's the other woman, the runaway youth, the pregnant woman alone, the expelled wife, divorced mother with child, and the welfare mother, relying upon handouts to survive. Sadly, the story of Sarah and Hagar was condensed and simplified into what has become an endless string of catfight narratives. It matters who tells our stories, the stories of women. Do we trust misogynistic and abusive writers, artists, directors, producers with our stories? The Me Too movement speaks to the power of women as destroyers. Bill Cosby's career and reputation have been destroyed. Is this fair? Well, I think you have to look at the context. Women's reputations and lives have been devastated for having sexual relations out of marriage, for having children out of wedlock. Ask any high school girl about the cost of being labeled a slut. In Atwood's tale, the dissenters in Gilead sought to destroy an oppressive and abusive society. And be it by fire or flood, nature embodied in the female is seeking to do the same today. I recently watched Dr. Lisa Randall, a physicist from Harvard, discuss science fiction with creators of the TV series Lost and a writer from 3 different Star Trek series. The writers, both male, spoke about the total freedom in science fiction to make up your own rules. Dr. Randall had some issues with the pseudoscience involved in their plots, but posed a much more interesting question. The thing I don't understand, she said, is how come there are men still dominating everything way in the future? Her question was met with a sheepish grin and a quick subject change. We have a choice to create and consume stories and art that reject women's submission to male domination. We must excavate the past and tell a more complete story, which includes perspectives of women like Sarah and Hagar, and imagine a future where the worth and dignity of all women are affirmed. And we must live in a present where men are held accountable for their misdeeds, and where we continue to listen to and elevate women's voices, not only when they are sweet, but especially when they are imperfect or storms that cry on for days.